So for today, we are going to focus on our objective, which is to apply their sound spelling learning to a text. The routine I'm going to demonstrate is I'm using a projected decodable passage from the Reading A to Z or Learning A to Z website. That website is really cool because you can actually get a whole scope and sequence for decodables. You can find which decodables align to the sound spelling pattern that you're teaching in your phonics program. So it's really cool, and it's cool for the virtual environment because they have these projectable passages. So usually, for those of you who are familiar with Reading A to Z, you might print off books and things like that as fluency passages. They also have projectable versions that can be used in the environment, and I take advantage of that for today. And then the routine that I'll be demonstrating is, first, I like to have scholars, we kind of talk about the book again. So remember, this is text, so they're applying some comprehension to it. We may talk a little bit about the story, about the picture that they see, what they think might happen. This could be a little mini guided reading lesson for those of us who may be struggling how to think about guided reading in a virtual environment. And then I have my scholars just look at the passage, right? We're not reading it yet. Just look at the passage and find at least one word with the sound that we're working on. So I want them to pull out and isolate that word with the sound that we're working on. When they do that, I'm going to have them give me a thumbs up or use the symbol if they're a little older and can maneuver the mouse and things like that. And then I'm going to have the scholars to read the passage aloud while on mute. So we're going to read it together while on mute. So they're all getting that fluency practice. And then I'm going to engage scholars by calling on one scholar at a time to come off of mute and read a portion of the passage. This is where your data comes in. You want to have your checklist. Who have I heard read the decodable out loud? Who do I need to focus on? Who am I calling off of mute to make sure that you're getting to all of your scholars and making sure you're listening into their reading. So we have a decodable book here. Sadly, it doesn't have a title, so it's set 12, book 1. But I'm going to, make scholars make sure that they're paying attention to the picture. I see a family. I see a car. The family looks pretty happy about the car. I wonder what this passage is going to be about. So you also, just a note, you also want to kind of bring their attention to any key vocabulary that will help. Because remember, this isn't an actual guided reading book. It's a decodable text. So it's heavily relying on sight words and a specific spelling pattern. So for this, I want to let the scholars know that the family's name are the Millers. So the Millers are here today, and they got a new car. So I'm going to say, all right, scholars, let's look at our passage, and we are focusing on the R control vowels. We learned that R controls are R, and and we have different spellings. So I want you to find one word, at least one word with an R control vowel. Might want to tell them to write it on their board, drop it in the chat if they're a little older. Excellent job. Emily, read your word out loud. Okay, you found car. Beautiful. Oh, Gregory, you found sharp. Excellent. Stacy, you saw purr. Wonderful. So now we're going to take a moment and we're going to read our passage out loud. Remember, scholars, I want you to be reading out loud, but you're going to stay on mute so we can all practice reading together and not distract each other. All right, let's practice. Put your finger under the first word or prepare for the first word. Let's read together. The Millers got a new car. The new car looked sharp. Excellent. Nova, you don't have to come off mute, but Nova, come off mute and read the next sentence for us. And then Nova will come up. She will read the next sentence. We'll give her feedback in a moment, and so on and so forth. As we work through the passage, we're always going to go back and read the passage again to the end fluently. Good readers read and reread. And I drive that all the time. All right, and scene, I jumped out of that teaching. Here is another script for asynchronous. So again, take about 15 seconds to read the script for how this can be pre-recorded. And as most of you noted when we were jotting down the strategies from Ms. Monica's video, so the pause or that wait time is key in the asynchronous to truly allow scholars that time to interact. And you want it to be a dramatic pause because you really want them to get an at bat. Some scholars can catch on and like, oh, she's going to tell me in a few seconds. But it's like, no, I really want to have you practice even if we're not in a synchronous environment. All right.